So what are the steps in business registration? There are 11 steps, and number 1 is register your business through DTI BTRCP registration, or also known as Bureau of Trade, Regulation and Consumer Protection, in order to gain exclusive rights to establish and use your business name. And in addition to this also serves as your protection from those that might want to take advantage of your business name, and you can register it through dti.gov.ph if sole proprietor, or sec.gov.ph if partnership, corporation, or one-person corporation. So for the second step, barangay clearance. This is a requirement by the local government code, which is easy to do and only requires minimal fee. So for the third step, registration with the local government in order to ensure standards are met and business complies with the specific requirements of the business locale. So for our fourth step, BIR registration in order to gain your tax identification number, authority to print receipts and invoices, and so on. So for our fifth step, SSS registration, which will not only benefit the employees, but the employers as well in cases of employees' disability or death. So for our sixth step, Department of Labor and Employment registration, a requirement for businesses that has 5 or more workers. Next is the seventh step, which is the PhilHealth registration. This is a must in order to gain healthcare benefits for your employees from the government. So for our eighth step, for businesses located along Meralco area, Manila Electric Company, or also known as Meralco, is where you can secure electric services. Local electric utility firms is where you can acquire electric services if located in non-Meralco franchising area. So for our ninth step, to secure water services, either local water utilities administration if outside Metro Manila, and Maynila the Water Company or Manila Water Company if within Metro Manila. So next is the 10th step, to secure telephone service connection you can acquire to PLDT, or also known as Philippine Long Distance Telephone Company. So last but not the least, our 11th step. So some businesses requires more agencies to be registered depending on your type of business. And if your business falls into one of these, some government agencies that you might be needing might be the Bureau of Food and Drug, Garment and Textile Board, the Department of Tourism, or the Philippine National Police. So moving on to our next topic, which is the business permit and license requirements for business permit. So number 1, we have the locational clearance prior to business permit. This is for new applicants and or change of business address only. So for our number 2, we have the lease contract between the lessor and the leasee. If leased, attach mayor's permit, registration of the building owner or landlord as a real estate lessor. If not, lease contract between the lessee and the sub-lessee with conformity of the owner of the building administration. If owned, transfer certificate of title, or also known as TCT, or tax declaration in a Xerox copy. This only applies to new applicants and change of business address only. Next, number 3, we have the business name registration with the Department of Trade and Industry. This is for sole proprietorship and for new applicants only. So next, for our number 4, we have the Article of Incorporation's partnership, which is approved by the Security of Exchange Commission, and this is for new applicants only. So for number 5, we have the barangay clearance, and for number 6, we have the public liability insurance. So for number 7, we have the financial statement of assets and liabilities, or BIR income tax return. This is for renewal only. And for number 8, we have the resident certificate A and B for single proprietorship, C and C1 for corporation. For number 9, there are other special permits, which is depending on the type of business. So who should apply for this? Number one, all business owners who intend to open a new business, and number two, all business owners who have existing business permits and wants to transfer to a new location. So what are the requirements for business licenses? Number one, a completely filled up and notarized application form for business permit. Number two, barangay clearance. Number three, DTI or SEC registration. And number four, occupancy permit. So for number five, if owner, a transfer certificate of title or TCT, and a condominium certificate of title CCT if location is a unit in a building or a condominium, and letter C, a latest payment of real property tax. So for number 6, if lessee, lease contract, and 7, if no renovation was done in the structure or building, a notarized affidavit executed by the owner of the building or structure attesting to the fact that no renovation or that no major renovation was really done. And number 8, notarized authorization for the person following up the application. So what are the don'ts in business registration? So accordingly, it is your responsibility to ensure that your proposed business name is number 1, not a term or word or group of words that connotes activities or norms that are unlawful, immoral, scandalous, or contrary to propriety, which is example, boobs massage and spa. Number 2 is it is not a name, word, or group of words, term, or expression used to designate or distinguish or suggest a quality of any class of goods, articles, merchandise, products, or services. So for number 3, not a trade name, trademark, or business name registered by any government agency. So for number 4, not inimical to the security of the state. Number 5, not composed of a purely generic word. Number 6, not a name that use of which is restricted by law or regulation. Number 7, not officially used by the government in its non-propriety functions. So for number 8, not a name of abbreviation of any nation. And number 9, not subject of an order by any administrative bodies or regular courts. Number 10, not a name of other persons. And number 11, not deceptive, misleading, or misrepresenting the nature of the business. So for our next topic, which is the business ownership, let us differentiate the sole proprietorship to partnership to corporation to one-person corporation and to cooperative. So in terms of where to register, sole proprietorship should register under the Department of Trade and Industry, while partnership, corporation, and one-person corporation should register under Security of Exchange Commission, and if cooperative should register under CDA, or also known as Cooperative Development Authority. So for attaining personality, for sole proprietorship, there is no personality. For partnership, corporation, and OPC, there is a personality if you are now registered under SEC or Security of Exchange Commissions, and if cooperative, you will gain personality if you are registered to Cooperative Development Authority. So for its structure, for sole proprietorship, it is fully owned by a single individual. For partnership, it can be one or more. For corporation, it is managed by the board of directors. And for one-person corporation, it is managed by the sole proprietor or the director. And for cooperative, it is managed by members. So next is the source of capital. So for sole proprietor, its source of capital is the proprietor's personal fund, and for the partnership, its source of capital is the partnership contribution, and for corporation, its source of capital is the investment of its shareholders, and for one person corporation, its source of capital is the owner's personal fund, same as with the sole proprietor. And for cooperative, its source of capital is the member's contribution. So when talking about liability, sole proprietorship and general partnership are the ones who have unlimited liability. But limited partnership, corporation, one-person corporation, and cooperative are those that has limited liability. So now let us talk about who is liable. So for sole proprietorship, the ones who is liable is the sole proprietor itself. For partnership, the one who is liable is the general partner. And for cooperative, stockholders have limited liability. And for one-person corporation, the one-person corporation itself is liable, but the owner's liability is limited. And for cooperative, the cooperative itself is liable in terms of debts and obligations. So now let us talk about the succession. So for sole proprietor, it is not transferable. For partnership, it has limited rights of transfer subject to consent by all partners. And for corporation, it is freely transferable through formal, which is the New York Stock Exchange, and informal, which is the private equity. For OPC, it requires a nomination of successor, and for cooperative, it is defined by the cooperative's bylaws, often involves procedures for transferring membership or electing new leadership. So now let's talk about profit sharing. So for sole proprietor, profit belongs to the sole owner, while the partnership, partners based on agreements or based on law. For corporation, stockholders based on declaration of the board of directors. And for OPC, all profits belong to the sole owner, just like the sole proprietorship. And for cooperative, profits are distributed among members, typically based on their patronage. So what is the difference between limited partnership and general partnership? The key difference between general and limited partnership lies in liability, management rights, and formation. So general partnerships can be formed informally, either orally or through a written contract, and do not require a SEC registration. So general partners bear unlimited personal liability for all partnership debts, regardless of their capital contribution and actively participating in the management of the business. So they can contribute cash, property, or services. Conversely, limited partnerships must adhere to statutory requirements and necessitate SEC registration. Limited partners have limited liability to their capital contribution and play no role in management, and they can only contribute cash or property. While a limited partner's interest is freely assignable, the assignee only gains partnership status with explicit permission granted within the certificate or the consent of all partners, requiring a certificate amendment in most cases. So the debt or insolvency of a general partner dissolves the partnership, while the same event for a limited partner does not. So unless it leaves the partnership without any remaining limited partners, and in essence, general partners are general partners are fully engaged in both the risk and rewards of the business, while limited partners enjoys limited liability in exchange for relinquishing managerial control. So next, let us compare partnership to a joint venture. So a partnership is like permanent business with partners sharing profits and losses. It has a separate legal identity, and partners can bind the business to contracts. So a joint venture, on the other hand, is usually a temporary project or single deal. It doesn't have a separate legal identity, and each participant is only responsible for their own actions, not those of the others. So partnerships are formal and joint ventures are more of informal. So now let's talk about the benefits of the BMBE, or also known as the Barangay Micro Business at Enterprise. So number one, it has income tax exemption, and number two, it exempts you from the minimum wage law. So next, let's talk about who are not qualified for BMBE registration. So one is franchised businesses. Number two is businesses with more than one branch. And number three, businesses with total assets exceeding to 3 million, excluding a land where plant and equipment are located. And number four, professionals or self-employed individuals registered as such. So next, for DTI registration, to register a BMBE with the Department of Trade and Industry, you will need a BMBE Form 01, a DTI Certificate of Business, a DTI Certificate of Business Name Registration, a Mayor's Business Permit, and a breakdown of asset and or latest financial statement, a pictures of the business premises, an owner's ID, special power of attorney, and ID of the authorized representative if applicable. So next, for BIR registration, so after obtaining the DTI Barangay Micro Business Enterprise Certificate of Authority, register with the Bureau of Internal Revenue in Regional Development Office where your business is located. Required documents includes BIR Form 1905. This is application for registration or update or correction or cancellation. So next is the DTI BMBE Certificate of Authority. Next is the notarized sworn statement of capital with asset breakdown, acquisition date, asset name, acquisition cost, accumulated depreciation, book value. And next is the notarized affidavit stating the business has no affiliates, branches, or etc. So latest annual income tax return and quarterly income tax return with audited financial statements if applicable. And next is the BIR Certificate of Registration. And lastly, a notarized special power of attorney or SPA and IDs of owner and authorized representative if applicable. So let us now differentiate offer from advertising under marketing, referencing the Pepsi-Cola case. So in the case of Pepsi-Cola, it is clearly an advertisement and not offer, for Pepsi-Cola also lacked the essential elements of a legally binding offer. So PepsiCo uses advertising and offers as complementary marketing strategies, since advertisements such as televisions, commercials, or social media posts aim to create brand awareness and desire for their products. So they showcase the product in a different light, associating it with the associating it with the desirable lifestyle or emotions, making consumers want Pepsi. So these ads are general invitations to consider purchasing. So in contrast to this, offers are specific, time-sensitive proposals. It is a proposal designed to incentivize immediate purchase. So what are the 5 types of marketing communications and its subtypes? So the 5 marketing communication comprises of advertising, sales promotion, public relation and publicity, personal selling, and lastly, direct and indirect marketing. So its subtypes are number 1, advertising consists of print and broadcasting ads, packaging outers, packaging inserts, and motion pictures. So number 2, we have sales promotion. Sales promotion consists of contests, games, sweepstakes, lotteries, premium and gifts, sampling, fairs, and trade shows. So next is number 3, we have the public relation, which consists of press kits, speeches, seminars, and annual reports. And next, we have personal selling. So personal selling consists of sales presentation, sales meetings, incentive programs, and samples. So next, number 5, we have direct and indirect marketing. So it consists of a catalogs, mailings, telemarketing, and electronic shopping. So first, we will be computing the food, which is cookies for the example, and it is 100 production. So for the cost of goods sold, it amounts to 2,500. For packaging, it will be 80 pesos, and for the affiliate, it will amount to 1,500. So for the fixed cost, its labor would be 1,000, utilities would be 1,500. So in order to compute the variable cost, we will add the 2,500, the 80, and the 1,500. So it will amount to 4,080 divided by 100, which is the number of production. So it will amount to 40.8. So next, the fixed cost, we will add the labor and utilities, which is 1,000 plus 1,500 equals 2,500 divided by 100 equals 225. To compute the total cost, it will be 40.8 plus 25 equals to 65.8. So to compute the profit margin, 65.8 times 2 is equals to 131.6. And for tax, 131.6 times 0.12 equals to 15.79. So 131.6 plus 15.79 is equals to 147.39. So for the buffer cost, 147.39 times 30% is equals to 44.217. Next is 44.217 plus 147.39 equals to 191.60. So our selling price will be 195. That is all for food computation. So next, we will be computing for the non-food. Our example would be a headband made of Swarovski as its accessory. And for our letter A, it is 20 pesos per piece, the headband, and its production would be 50. So for the variable cost, accessories would cost 2,500, materials would cost 500 pesos, affiliate would cost 1,500, and packaging would cost 300 pesos. So for its fixed cost, utility would amount to 500 and labor would amount to 1,000. So to compute the variable cost, let us first multiply the 20 pesos per piece, and the production, so it will amount to 1,000 plus 25 plus 500 plus 1,500 and plus 300, which amounts to 5,800 divided by 50 equals to 116. So for fixed cost, 500 plus 1,000 equals to 1,500 divided by 50, which amounts to 30. To add the total cost, 146, and for our profit margin, which is 25%, so 146 times 0.25 equals 36.5, and 146 plus 36.5 equals to 182.5. So next is the tax computation. So 182.5 times 0.12 is equals to 21.9. And 21.9 plus 182.5 is equals to 204.4. So our selling price would be 210 pesos. So since we are using Swarovski charms, our ROI will be the amount that we need to ROI is the 250,000. So we will divide it into 36.5, which is the profit margin. So it will amount to 6,849 headbands that are needed to be sold to ensure ROI. And that is all for the computation of non-food.